Okay, report.
All right, wonderful. We'll call to order the meeting of the New Canaan Police Building Committee on this Thursday, February 27th. Were there any comments from the public?
No public comments.
Great. Did everyone get the minutes for our last meeting?
Yes.
Any additions, corrections, improvements, punctuation, challenges? All good.
No, motion to
Okay.
approve.
Any second? Paul, all in favor of approving the minutes?
Yep.
Good. All right, let's get to it then.
Okay. Just since we met a couple weeks ago, the focus has really been on startups. We've started up the air handling units. We did the generator yesterday, and the transfer switch. Most of the systems, in fact, the boilers have been started up. The VRFs, which are the cassette units, part of the HVAC system.
Can everyone hear? Ty?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Which were supposed to start up last week. We got bumped, so that's actually starting up today. But all in all, we're coming down the home stretch, and everything has proved out thus far, which is all good. Really, one of the last pieces of the puzzle is getting the IT set up so that we have communication, because we need to have the link for the fire alarm system to call out to a central station, and for that kind of tie-in and whatnot to get the BMS system up and running, and the fire alarm system. So that I think is starting next week when the town's IT guy gets back from some vacation, and that's really going to be the home stretch. We're also transitioning into sort of the cleanup stage. We're pulling up all the floor protection tomorrow, and then we've got the cleaners coming in next week, starting at the top and working their way down. So that being said, then we sort of transition into the punch list, and to rev up his reviews and start heading down the home stretch. Yeah.
Is the police involved with that punch list in any way?
They can be, absolutely. I think they did have a walkthrough and came up with some things. It's more day two stuff. It's more change stuff than I think punch list. But and I think they've set up a process for that. You're sort of the leader of the team. Yeah. Yeah. So if you can formalize those, then those will be presented to the committee and whatnot for review and approval. So that's sort of a quick overview. I'll turn it over to Larry and Scott, who can give you the photo montage. And
right, good morning, everybody. Hear me?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Appreciate it. All right, Larry's going to get us up and running here. Just we have to click buttons and slide things around. So he's seeing. All right, can everybody see the screen now?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we're up and downstairs. Upstairs is kind of status quo, to Ty's point right now. So we're just getting ready to start peeling back the protection and start cleaning ourselves up upstairs. So we're not going to see any photos of the upstairs. The only change up there is that we've begun the process of installing the ceiling tiles. We walked last Friday with the building officials, and we've agreed that we can start closing up tiles as we continue our commissioning effort throughout the building. So we're going to look at the main and lower level outside is the main focus now. As you can see, this is the conference room on the main level, the north conference room. Basically, the wood trim is getting finished up. The window treatments are getting ready to get installed. You can see them sitting there on the windowsills as we're getting ready to install those. And again, we're maintaining the protection for today. Protection is going to start coming up tomorrow. This is the bathroom on the main level. We were able to manipulate a little, with the expansion joints in between the two buildings. We're able to get that all in place. That allowed us to finish up the tile. And so they're just putting the fixtures in on the main level and a little bit of grouting to do. This is the IT closet. Looking in, you can see that's the new back addition area there that was added. The racks are in, everything's punched down and ready to go. The fire suppression system, you can see there in the right-hand corner, that's the chemical system. The AC units are up and running and maintaining space temperature. So the last thing we're got to do is just get up there and put some ceiling tiles in as we're done pulling wires. We usually wait a little bit for that to get done so we can make sure we've got all the last minute little ads and day 2 work items in there, but certainly we're going to push to get some final paint in there, and then we'll pull the protection up there. These are the windows at the north and south stair. The frames are in, the casing is in, the sill is in. We are just applying the finish outside trim around the perimeter. It's a little unique because of the bend and the size and the height and the location, but that'll be finished up but today. And then we'll finish that last little bit of wall trim returns. Again, getting the stairwells done both north and south. This is the lobby area. So you're looking from the elevator towards the door, the entrance area. So this is the lobby just before we final protected it. So everybody gets a good look at it. The panels are getting finished around the trim. We've got the door operator that goes up above the door that's going to operate the door both inside and out. And then the rest of the casing we just received the other day to finish up around the doors, the bathroom doors, and around the water fountain area, etc.
And I assume those very expensive light fixtures are stored at a very safe place, hopefully under lock and key, so that when they come out, I don't know if you need a police escort to bring them out and install them, they'll be all set. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes, as you notice, the light fixtures are not installed. We have those stored in a very secure place, and we have an escort to them. Yes. Yeah, we have them. Well, those will be the out as we get out the door. The ceiling team is here today putting ceiling tiles in. There's a little bit of coordination as we stick them in there. It's a very tight space up there to maximize that height. So yeah, we're waiting last minute on those, both from a dust and dirt environment as well as a potential damage environment. Thanks for picking that out.
What furniture, if you go back to that other picture, what furniture is going to be where there?
That's a Brian question.
Yeah, that's.
I think there's a couple.
In the alcove, there's some waiting furniture, some chairs and waiting chairs in that alcove that you see. Other than that, there's not a lot of furniture in this space.
Okay.
All right. So then moving on, this is just a photo from inside the dispatch area. We finally, we've got all the last little bits and pieces, all the little monitor devices. We were able to close the wall up. So that we're ready to start now getting the monitors up and installed up there. So that was the last bit we had out there, and then we can finish painting that today, tomorrow, and kind of get out of there and get ready for the Zybex furniture, which is returning on the 7th, March 7th, next Friday, and then the install starts that following Monday on the 10th.
So while we're on that picture, can Brian or can someone go over what the changes are in this space that we made after we walked through it to bring it up to the level of the rest of the building?
Yeah, it was really kind of minimal for this space. We are taking the 2 aluminum doors that you see on the left side. We're taking those aluminum doors and frames out. We're replacing them with new metal frames, solid wood doors, but the dispatch side of those 2 doors will get the same wood trim as you see in the lobby. So if you're in the lobby looking into dispatch, you'll see some wood trim into dispatch, but it's really the two doors was all.
And was there anything else that we changed?
We did add some more data outlets in the room behind dispatch, that work area behind dispatch.
And did we keep or did we change the casework that was in this area? Because I know we had talked about that.
There was casework that had been eliminated at the window. We eliminated that so officers could go up to the window and the console furniture could get placed back where it wants to. So the casework was what was deleted in this space.
Okay, so Brian, just just to sum, is there anything else you think we have to do to this space so that people who are working in dispatch feel like they're getting a building that is as fresh and as new as the rest of the police force?
It will be as new, new flooring, new paint, new monitor locations. That's been coordinated with the police department. They're gonna get the existing consoles back into this space. But that's the only thing that's coming back, the console furniture.
Okay,
All right.
good, thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Brian. Scrolling on down, this is the stairs going down from the main level down to the lower area. Again, just showing that we're just the floors are protected. You can see them there, the treads, the stringers, risers, wall, ceiling. Again, just getting ready to paint those last railings as we wrap ourselves up in that stair area. This is downstairs processing. So we're as we can finalize the last little bit of temporary power out. We're still again trying to get the heat going, and with boilers, and Ty had alluded to the fact that we're just waiting for the final phone dial out so we can turn the boilers on, which allows us to get the fire protection system operational, which then allows us to get the old heaters out and turn the new heaters on. But this is looking down in the processing area. We've got the stainless steel countertops are coming tomorrow. What's today? Tomorrow. So we'll get the countertops in there, and then start buttoning this up inside the jail cells. Again, we're kind of painted. The bunk is in, toilets are in, tested, ceilings are up and painted, and we're just getting ready to get out of there. Again, just another jail cell area, as you see, keeping everything as protected as much as we can until the end. So the protection gets worn a little bit, but certainly once we peel that up, we do a nice mop down and wipe down. This is downstairs in the lower lobby. As you look on the left, you can see that that's the chairlift right there. Those are the new fixtures that you see installed in the ceiling there. Kind of
cool.
similar. Yeah, kind of similar to what's going to be upstairs, but
Chandelier.
the chandelier more style upstairs, but the wood trim is on. And again, the last little bit of ceiling work, you can see us with some of the temporary power still there as we get ready to close the ceilings up down there as well. This is just a view from the other location. Again, looking down with the fitness area on the right there, and a little bit closer of the fixtures. The boiler room, you know, as we starting to neaten it up, those are the controls there, the various frequency drives, expansion tanks, boiler stuff. It's kind of back of house, but it's just, you know, the guys did a great job. The craftsmen really took their time in here, and I wanted to show that off a little bit of putting 10 pounds in a 5-pound bag. So they did a great job there. This is the Sallyport area. Lights are going in. You can see some of the plastic hanging off the lights as we protect and get ready to spray. So we're block filling the walls with this paint that fills the CMU block. Then we're gonna get and start painting first and second coats and getting the ceiling in. But there's a lot of little conduits and protection that has to happen. So you're gonna see a lot of plastic wrap up there around the garage door operators and the doors themselves. So that's where we are there. And then the last little bit of ceiling of roof shingles, you can see we're down to the wire with the roof shingles. The piles are getting smaller. With the weather getting better, we can get the shingles done. But everything from the exhaust fans you see on the back there to the louvers and the louvers on the right hand side for the doors, right? So we're all ready to go there. This is outside, again, just looking at the outside of the garage doors. This is the Sallyport doors we're looking at there. The louvers are going into the walls. The doors, exterior doors are getting finalized. Last little bit is the skylight that we're just waiting on. It was a little bit of back and forth with manufacturer challenges and trade contractor challenges, but we'll get that in time, and everybody will have that up and running. And then just an outside view of where we are. Again, with soffits, we've got cameras are going in, light fixtures going in, and again, just an overview of the exterior. And then this is from the other side. This is just looks from the EMS side. You know, again, just showing the brick is there. Columns are in, you know, and the you kind of can't see the louvers because they blend in with the color of the brick. So a little challenging getting the right photo there. Again, this is the storage garage. We cleaned, wiped down the brick, did the wash downs, and then we'll just get that last little paint color up there and paint those brick when we get the clear weather. The outside doors are on. The trim is installed. Light fixtures are going up. We've got another louver down to the boiler room. Generator was started up yesterday. So generator is fully functioning now. We got one last little bit for the transfer switch ASCO team to come in and do the electrical side of it now that we've started the generator up, ran it through its paces for 4 hours. With they have a load bank that they bring out and test it, stress the generator to its limits to make sure that it's going to function when the load is on. And then going around, the next photo here is just of the front. You can see the retaining wall is going in with the efforts to maintain that 1926 sign. Was something we wanted to make sure we had. But as we see, we got the lights, the lanterns are up. The lights are on underneath the portico. The roof is done on this side of the building. And now that we've got the transformers out, we can put the retaining wall. Retaining wall allows us to shut the water off. We can then dig down, terminate the water in the sewer to the building. So that there's a lot going on in that little corner right there. And then from the back of the building, again, just up the stairs, retaining wall, and in a little view, you can kind of see where they are with the roofing. They got about another 2, maybe another 3 days to get to the top. Then they'll finish the capping, and then they'll be wrapping up the roof. So a lot of good things going on. The good weather has been helping us a little bit. The rain pokes us in the eye, but other than that, we're in good shape. Railings are expected to come out next week for the stairs. So we'll close those up. Those were galvanized, had to go to the galvanizer. There's a long wait on those items. But other than that, then once the thaw is, we can get back and start doing the, finish up the grading, finish up the planting, and et cetera when the springtime comes.
Looks darn good.
Yeah.
It looks amazing.
Yeah, really does. I wonder if we could paint the clock face on the, we'll be right twice a day.
We can, what time do you want it to say? You just got to pick a time. That's
5
all.
o'clock, right? 5
It's
o'clock.
5 o'clock somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna discuss this later, those columns you showed there, Larry. I mean, Scott.
Yep.
The dressing, whatever you call that.
Right.
What
So
are we-
so if you can look at, I apologize. You can see those are the columns there. There's the 1, 2,
This-
that might be a better view there, but you can see them,
Yeah.
the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the one
7.
returns 7. But I don't know if you want to, Brian, take it.
Yeah, we have a total of 9 columns, but 7 of them are on the perimeter. And there are 2 interior columns. And the 2 interior columns you can see there, they have roof drainage that go down next to them. They're interior to the space. We're going to call for those 2 interior columns to be painted and remain exposed. But the 7 on the perimeter, we have put together a sketch to add column wraps to those. And we picked a solution that I would have picked if we would have started this from the beginning. It's a Tuscan column. I can share with you what it looks like. So Larry, you're gonna have to jump off. So as far as type of column, I would recommend, and I recommended this Tuscan, the second one in. It's a smooth face, it's round. It does have an appropriate curve to it. And these come in halves. They're made out of a fiberglass resin, so they're durable. They're not lightweight, but they are just a covering to the structural steel. So they come in halves. You set them on the concrete base, you fasten them together, and then you bondo the seams and you paint them. So it'll be a durable product. But the situation that we have the base that's going to be sitting on the concrete pier that's there. We need a proper capital to receive these columns. So in order to provide a suitable capital, we are also looking to provide a new soffit at the top to receive that capital. So you see how the base will be sitting on the concrete pier. The column will be wrapped. It needs to come up and be received by something. So what this box soffit is going to do is at two things. It's going to receive the top of the column, but it's also going to receive what's on the left side is we have a suspended ceiling that's going in that carport. It's a metal ceiling that's going to hide all of the structure above. So it'll give it a finished look and a finished appearance. The dotted lines that you see on the left is where we originally called for that ceiling to be installed. So the ceiling was going to be high and the ceiling was going to hit the back of this soffit. The black line is what is existing. With the new column capital, we're taking that ceiling, we're dropping it about 6 inches to receive into the back of this new soffit. So this soffit is going to run 3 sides. It's going to be continuous along 3 sides of the canopy. Give it some more meat, give it some more soffit to receive the column caps, but also receive the ceiling. So I think if I was to do this, from the beginning, how I would have designed it is this is how I would have designed it. You have to add that little soffit piece. You have to receive the ceiling, and that soffit is going to receive both the ceiling and the capital of the column. So this sketch has gone to Turner. We've discussed how to build it, how to put it in place, and they've suggested some constructability of this. They're actually going to be building this on the ground. They can turn it upside down, lift it up, suspend it off of the structure that's above. They can do all of this work now, and they can finish off the ceiling. So all of this soffit work can be constructed, in place, painted, done, ceiling installed, and then you could wait for the column to come. The columns may take some lead time to get them, but if all that ceiling work is done, the pier is already there waiting to accept them. Whenever the columns arrive, then they could just assemble those around the columns, finish off the seams and paint them. So it's the thing that's holding up the ceiling right now is this soffit piece that we need to get a price on and need to get this soffit piece approved. In addition, then it will be all set to receive the columns.
So Brian, can you we fought so hard in the exercise room for every single inch of ceiling space. Can you just talk a little bit about if we're going to drop the ceiling back here, how high it's still going to be and what if that's still going to feel right to people using it, or is it going to feel like it's way too short or what?
Well, the key dimension is the height of the Sallyport doors. We've maintained and we really worked hard with the Sallyport to get the mechanicals up. So if you have an 11-foot door at the Sallyport, you can drive something that's 11 feet into the Sallyport, through the Sallyport, out the back of the Sallyport. And by lowering this 6 inches, there is some grade change that happens in this corner. We're still maintaining that 11-foot clear dimension to the soffit. So we have a consistent 11-foot dimension that you can take through the Sallyport, and if you can get it in the Sallyport, you can get it out and you can continue to drive it through. But that's the critical dimension, that we can't take anything higher than 11 feet. And we can't take it into the carport and we can't take it into the Sallyport. And all of the vehicles that they have at the police department currently are within that 11-foot dimension. So all the vehicles they have can make their way through this space comfortably.
Okay, and you
All
think that the 11 feet is going to feel, I mean, that's a big, broad expanse. It's going to be okay as you're only going in and out of the building there, but I just want to make sure you were happy with that. 11 feet then throughout that throughout that area.
Yeah, that's the dimension that we've maintained. Most of their vehicles are 8 feet and less. So you're going to have plenty of height above these vehicles.
Right, and an ambulance is how tall? just in case it goes through there.
Well, the overhead
It's-
doors at the EMS are 11 feet also, and they're going in and out of those.
All the
overhead
time.
doors.
Right, thanks.
So the ambulance can clearly go through this.
Hey, Brian, you want to stop sharing and we'll throw up just a.
So one thing is, the at the schoolhouse entrance, they have a similar detail, and I saw it the other day. Maybe I shared this picture, maybe it would help help the look visually. So I believe this is
There it
similar
is.
to.
But you can see, you can see how the top, you have to have a nice a
Right.
top to receive the column, and the base is kind of similar with a little bit of the back sit there. So
Yeah. That's the
That's
flat,
similar to-
that's the flat that we need to create, and that's the flat that the sketch is adding to the. It's just gonna look classic. It's gonna look like it's a classic architectural capital when it all gets completed, and that's a similar style of column.
That's a very helpful picture, Larry. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
So just out of just to add, so it looks to me in this one that you have, it's a little bit lower where you come down on the column and then the ceiling steps up a few inches
Mm-hmm,
underneath the entrance.
mm-hmm.
So why wouldn't we have it a little bit lower at the columns and then step it up 6 inches?
Because we still have to we have to cover some piping that is in that carport. And we need the ceiling where it is to cover all the piping. There's some slope to the fire suppression piping. So it's not, we had to look at what's the lowest pipe dimension to get the ceiling under that pipe. And that's all coordinated now, this lowering of the ceiling into the new soffit.
Brian, are you saying you had to lower the ceiling anyway?
Or we would had to box around that one piece of pipe.
Oh, you would have boxed around it. Okay.
Yes. So this eliminates that box around the pipe.
And
Right.
you think that this is gonna be a better look and feel with the whole lower ceiling rather than having a boxing around that one pipe and having something shorter around the columns?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
Ryan, when do we think we'll have any kind of estimate as far as costs for this?
Well, I know that Turner has put a placeholder into the numbers that they're gonna talk about coming up. But this, the entire length, we're gonna build that box, the entire width of the canopy and both legs. One's a short leg back to the sally port, the other is a longer leg back to the storage bays.
No, it'll look nice.
It'll really finish it off. Yeah.
Right, right.
We should all be clear that this isn't adding to the functionality in any way, shape, or form, right? This is purely an aesthetic ad.
But it's not.
It is aesthetic. When I was there, I looked at these columns and I saw that it just looked like it was unfinished.
Right. No, I think it's a good addition.
Yeah.
Let's just get a price.
The piers, the column piers that are there, the poured concrete piers are 20-inch square. The base of the columns is 18 3/4 inches. So the base of the columns are not going to be wider than the concrete pier. They'll be a little narrower than the concrete pier. So the concrete's still going to give you protection for vehicles
To
in
hit
and
it.
out.
Yeah.
And they're 45 degree at the base. So the 18 3/4 fits very nicely onto that surface. We took field dimensions of all of the piers, and the difference of the height of the piers across all 7 is the difference is only 1/4 inch. So all of these are going to look like they're all consistent across the base.
Like those Turner guys knew what they were doing.
Yeah, it was pretty remarkable because 1/4 inch difference across 7 column caps is to be commended.
Hey, Brian, if somebody bangs into one of these things, do they crack, dent? I mean, is it something that needs to be replaced, or are you just gonna live with a couple dents?
Well, if they do get marred up and if they do get hit or dent, these get repaired just with Bondo. It's a Bondo and paint.
Oh, good.
They're pretty durable. They're if you knock on them, it's going to sound like they're very substantial columns. They can take some abuse. And paint and Bondo is the repair process.
Also make the back of the building look finished. Right now, it looks like a still a construction project. So this is a good thing to do.
And the picture that Larry took is straight across from the back of this canopy. It's that structure that you see at the apartment. So we're facing what we're going to replicate.
It'll be consistent, looks nice.
Yes.
Okay.
So all of the structural steel that you see in that picture in the canopy, all that structural steel metal deck that you see within, all that will be concealed also with a new ceiling. And the
Scott
ceiling was always, the ceiling's part of the scope. The ceiling's not added. The ceiling was always within the project.
Scott explained to me yesterday that that ceiling's needed to make the fire protection system work, so that if there's a fire, you've got to have some way to sense the temperature, and that ceiling has to be enclosed to make all the fire suppression stuff work.
Yeah.
So it was going to be there anyway.
So there's suppression piping that will be concealed within the ceiling. Those little whips that you see are the sprinkler heads that will be down into the ceiling surface.
It'll look great. And Larry, like I said, thank you for adding that picture. It really helped for us non-builders.
Yeah.
So we can go to votes and do, or we can finish up Ty, or I guess as part of Ty's report, we can get, we'll circle back to voting and understand.
Yep.
Right. We need it, or we could do something on a.
Tentative.
Okay, so we'll jump to the numbers. First page, most of this is cleanup stuff. There are a few new numbers, as we just referred to. Bottom of first page, number 65. This was a floor drain that was added in the sprinkler room, and we just got the pricing from the plumber. So the work was done a while ago, but that's 6247. Turning the page, we got the stapler in the right place this time. Number 107. This is we've been talking about this for a while. This is the casework locks, which was a little higher. We reduced the number and negotiated that down. I think everybody's on board now with the 2177. And then that'll move towards getting approved. Down the yellow ones at the bottom, additional soffit. This is just between when we're in the corridor of the main level between the two areas, we had to widen one of the soffits to cover all the steel. So this is just an approximate value, a swag at this point. We're just finalizing the numbers there for the 8,000. The next one is what we were just talking about. This is the carport ceiling. The swag right now is about 65,000. We'd say over half of that is just the columns. It's probably 60-40 split between the columns, and then the soffit is about 40% of that. Turner staff extension, we've alluded to this. We haven't really finalized the numbers on this, but we just wanted to identify this. It will actually be $0 to this report, and it'll show up in the contingency or holes. That'll be funded out of one of those buckets within the GMP. And then the last one is irrigation system. We have to make some provisions to tie into the irrigation system that's going to be installed out of the soft costs. So
That's the outside irrigation.
Correct.
For the
plants. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. So that's the overall what the PCO log, and you see at the bottom, the current numbers of changes thus far to the project.
You need some approval to go forward with the soffit.
Yeah. Why don't we just run through overall, and then we'll double back on that? That'd be great. On the holds, again, we're just, most of these are just moving things over from pending to approved. The first one, for some demo of the existing ceilings. This is on the lower level to make room for the MEP stuff. Curb elevation, again, this is just going from pending to approved. Some curb repairs. This is out in the front of the building. This is work that's all been completed at this point. Next page. This was just a little change. This is the modern number 14, adjust some of the chair rail. When Brian walked through, he added some chair rail just to continue it down a little side corridor, just so that it looked a little more finished. So going down into the break room, 3198. Moving right along, then we have towards the end of the holds, a few new items. Within the lobby, there was some radiant panel that had to be adjusted to make room for the crown molding. And then we also had to deal with a diffuser that was coming from the vestibule into the lobby. And so we had some adjustments there as well to the millwork. So this is affected a few different trades. The first one is the millwork. Then we had some drywall work, which is the second line. And then if you go to the last page, this is the mechanical side. So 3 little buckets of money for to make the adjustments to make that really look appropriate. And that's all coming out of our holds, money that we had. Then the allowance report. So there was some storage fees associated with all the furniture for the dispatch. We took a little bit out of this, what was remaining in this allowance bucket. And then you'll see the rest of that is coming out of our contingency. So right now, there's still 20,000 left in the allowances. The bulk of that is for exterior masonry, 10,000. We still need to paint that, and so that's primarily for that. I don't know if we'll use all of that. And then the remaining 10,000 or so is a little bit for the gates, a little bit just $1,200, and then the last one is some additional floor patching and things of that nature. But so we're kind of coming down the home stretch. I think the intent would be we'll exhaust this with change money or whatever before the end of the project. Contingency, the last section again, on the first page, the last 2 items, those are just moving from pending to approved. And then on the last page is the new stuff. The first 2 items are the Zybex furniture. Again, that's the remainder of those storage costs there. And then we had, that's the dispatch furniture. It's the existing furniture that we had to pull out and store it with the manufacturer, and then they're going to bring it back in next Friday. And then we had some electrical work for the temporary heaters that we had to bring back in because we didn't have the power for the permanent systems. And then some also power for the temporary power for the epoxy floor machine. And then this last one is just the staff extension that I referred to. So right now we're showing it contingency. We can figure it out between contingency and holds once we zero in on that number. So that's, and we still have 252 right now left in our contingency.
252 about 330.
That's, yeah, 252 is
No,
what's
I
left
don't
of
have,
it.
I don't have the updated one. This is the updated one?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. That's right. 330. No, this was a previous version.
Oh, so it's 3:30.
330, correct. My bad. Yep. I made all my notes on this and then Larry.
Is that 3:30 looking like you'll be pretty good?
I would say we're gonna, depending on with the staff change, how we distribute that, but I think on the last report, I said we'd probably be closer to 250. Just with little nits and gnats coming down the home stretch.
This is your contingency.
That's our contingency.
Right.
Right.
We have the 846.
That's what happens when you get Board of Finance guys on the building committee.
How's already taken that 846?
Yeah, we spoke.
Should be where you know it, one of-
Yeah, just so you know, we presented to the Board of Finance on Tuesday night, and I'm not gonna say they have a one-track mind, they're as they should. Jill, how do you want to handle the approval of, because the 65 grand isn't, we don't know what the number is. Jim, we could do it up
You can
to,
approve up to 75, and then if it blows past that, you'll have to come back to us.
that's
So I move that we approve the column.
Mike,
It's on his.
Can we have just a quick discussion?
Yep.
I mean, anything over $20,000 we've been voting on. This is an optional item so that we will obviously call for a vote on this particular item. When we gave the presentation the other day to the Board of Finance, we had $60,000 included, covered in contingency for this item in the irrigation, so we included 60. So this is another $13,000 on top of that. So the actual contingency is going to be drawn down from when we talked to the Board of Finance the other night by another $13,000. So it basically makes the contingency at $840. Having said that, obviously we still have the Turner contingency, which they're by contract, they have to give us back. But they still need to close out all the contracts. So there's risks associated with that. There's some, also in this, I think there'll be a couple weeks. I'm not speaking for you, but you did mention there'll be some additional staff time if it extends out. So if we have to pay for a couple weeks of Larry, so that would kind of draw that down as well. So I just want to be fully
Out
transparent.
of 29 million, we can't manage it down to the last $100. So
well, tell that to
Which
Todd.
is fine. And the only reason why I am saying this is because there is an expectation from Board of Finance that the contingency is basically money.
But
they
that
do not
wasn't
want.
intended to keep us from finishing the project correctly.
Understood, absolutely.
We're not blowing away that, it's like, this is
No,
fine
in my
tuning.
view, I think if this is the right thing to do, 13,000, like, no big deal.
Right.
I would not, I agree with Jim. I would not say, hey, just because we told the Board of Finance and I'm on the Board of Finance, they can speak up too. But, 846 is a good number. If it's 840, 830, 820.
Absolutely.
We're trying to look at the big picture.
Yeah.
And get this done right.
We want to do it, look, we spent a lot of money on this project. We want to do it right, We don't want to say, hey, we're going to save $13,000 and then later on look at this and, we really wish we spent the 13,000.
Well, it's
Right, later on, come back and do it. So.
absolutely. I was letting you know the difference between what we presented and today.
It was 200,000, different story.
So what I'd like to do is propose a motion that gives a little extra so we don't have to vote on this again, just in case we miss something. And I propose that we authorize up to 75,000 for the columns and soffits and associated work.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Any other discussion? And the 75, we hope to be a very, very conservative number and
We're looking at
overstate
65
what it
as
is.
our target.
Exactly. Vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. It's approved unanimously. Thank you, guys. And thank you, Michael, for, helping with that. And like I said, one more time, to thank Larry for that picture because I think.
Nick, you're supporting it too, right, Nick?
Oh, yeah.
So I guess,
We're both on board.
Yeah, the other thing, just there was a couple add-ons here for millwork and things like that. And I can picture when, people go through, they're going to be impressed with some of our fancy millwork. And people have to understand, we put nice millwork in where the public will see the building, but assure them that back where the guys are working, frankly, I'm not saying we just slapped up some paint, but they don't have wood trim millwork or anything like that back in the working part of the building. That's really just for public facing.
But all the people that go down to the daycare center and go to the side of the college, that's still public area. So.
Oh, I agree with the columns. Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So I guess I have a question for our project team. Is there anything else? I mean, it looks like we're sort of at the end of the road here, but is there anything else that you think that we as a building committee should consider so that we're getting the project done that we want to deliver for the community?
Nothing comes to my mind. Scott, Larry?
No, listen, I think this last little exterior finishing touches, I think, I think that it's a great looking project. I don't know what more we can give.
It was exciting.
Put Larry and Scott's face on the building somewhere. Maybe.
Yes.
On the clock tower. That's where the clock tower.
If you stand up near the condos and look, you're going to see an outline of us. We're doing it in the roofs, in the shingles, the roofing shingles.
Oh,
A little silhouette. I got the front, Larry got the back.
Ouch.
Too easy.
I guess I can answer that, Penny, based off, we did the original space needs assessment. So are the needs of the police department satisfied within what we're presenting? And within the building, I can say emphatically, yes, we've satisfied the space needs assessment. The one thing that we did not complete, the exterior storage, there's a pad in the back for that auxiliary shed that was part of the original needs assessment, and it's not satisfied in the final product. But there is a pad site if you ever want to put a storage area in the back, and it was something that the police department did bring up that's still not satisfied. So that's the best answer I could give you, just based off of the needs that we started with. Have we satisfied the needs? And all but that rear storage area.
Yeah, always.
And that's what, a 20 by 20 area, Brian, I think, something like that?
It's about 20 by 20 pad site. It's got a conduit going back to it for future power, if you wanted to bring power to it. So there is a conduit that you can get power to the shed. And the police department were the ones that originally requested it for things they don't want to store in the building that could be flammable or hazardous, or even evidence that they retrieve that could be flammable, or they don't want to store within the building.
And before you guys had literally an old metal box sitting in the back there, right? It's really what you had. We want to do better than that, obviously. But and the only other issue was from the EMTs, but that wasn't a construction basis. That was really marking out parking spaces and things like that. If Tom Turrentine was here, I think he would bring that up. I mean, that's still a concern of the EMTs.
So I guess just on Brian's point, the one thing I want to make sure of is that the police department is fine with the building as is, to see if they can live with it. Because what you don't want to have happen is for them to say, we needed this all along, the building committee didn't give it to us, and then they because of budget constraints, put something up that looks really awful. So where are the police on the fact that we don't have this shed? I know we talked about it a lot at the beginning of the project and we took it out, but where are we on it now? Paul, do you have any?
Is John right there? John or Joe?
No, Joe's here. Hey, Paul.
Hey, Joe.
We did a walkthrough last week, as I said, when we had our staff meeting. Everybody loves it. The building looks fantastic. There's some minor tweaks and adjustments. We're getting those to Brian and the team. As far as that pad goes in storage, the chief, deputy chief, and I were talking about it after, and we would have use for it, but it wasn't something at the moment that felt like there's any ill sentiment about it not being there right now. So I'll go back and talk to them after, see if there's anything where there's an urgency to it and report back. But right now it's kind of was like, not that big of a deal at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know if it really needed 20 by 20 or if it was more of a, 6 by 6 or whatever, but let them come back.
And Joe,
Yeah.
from a logistics and budgeting perspective, so Ty, you mentioned, so there's a punch list, that's part of the construction project. We're going in, there's a wall here, things like that. When it comes to changes based on police department input, day 2, as you described it, Joe, how is that handled in the budgets and things like that?
So the mechanism would be the police department is going to give a list of items, some wants and needs to Brian. He'll put it together in an ASI and it'll come through Turner as a pending change order. But we don't see any big items at this particular moment. We didn't see any big requests. We can also just kind of see how we fall out with all the Turner contingency and items like that and just put it on our wish list if we want to get like a Clotter Farms shed, and it would be good to have storage, right? That would be up to the committee if we wanted to do that at this point. So
This picture shows a pile of gravel. Is there a pad poured?
No, I think once you know the size of the shed, you pour a pad.
Okay.
Right, it's just a gravel area there. You can see the light pole base on the corner, and then that other stubbing up conduit is the empty conduit for future power. There's a curb cut there so that you can, I guess, if you need to back a vehicle up near it to offload, unload, or whatever, but that's basically just a flat gravel location.
Well, there's also utilities underneath there, correct, Brian, right?
That's the conduit that you see in the picture.
Yeah.
It's underground drainage.
Yeah, so the town has underground drainage over in that area. So I would think we would leave it.
Back lift there, right?
I think we would leave it similar to as it is, and you can buy a shed with a floor in it. And then that way, if we ever had to do any repairs underneath it, we would be able to just move the shed.
My recollection is there's actually a utilities easement underneath there.
There is a utilities easement and utilities.
More
Yes.
in the driveway, yeah. I think it's just more in the drive.
On the other.
Yeah, more down the drive, but yes, in that corner.
So the only
Maybe
thing I'm
this-
thinking, go ahead.
Sorry, this is before my time. Why was the shed stricken at the time anyway?
There was a shed that it became a brick structure. It was a couple $100,000. And it was more than it was cut out because it was not desired at that price point.
Okay.
And to keep the project within the budget. There was obviously a lot of pressure to not go over 29 million. So that was what happened.
And there was a shed, but it was in a conflicting location, so it had to be taken down.
So here's what I'm thinking about the shed is, if we need this, this is the team that should put it in because we know where all the conduit is, we know where all the drainage is, we know all of that. And so we should make a concerted effort and if you can do it at this lower price point, it's going to be a much more efficient and better installed product than if we try and do it in 2 years when we don't have this project team.
Right. Why don't we make it a point to the police come back to the committee in the next 2 weeks after giving it a little bit more thought and come back either, up or down, what our real needs are. All right. Rather than just postponing it. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, let's do it now. Right.
Okay.
I agree.
Now that they've seen the whole building, they really understand what they're getting for storage and what they're not getting. And I would just, if we're gonna have to do it.
Right. And Joe, what are we doing now with storage of things like that?
They were in the, what was Fred's garage? Most of the stuff was in there. That would occupy a shed, whether it's the barricades, stop signs, portable stop signs, stanchions, things like that. Depending on the size of the shed, we talked about, putting our, what do you call that thing? The gator, some other equipment would take up garage space, but doesn't necessarily need to be in the garage. But yeah, I'll talk to Chief, Deputy Chief, and we'll let you know and bring it back to the board in 2 weeks.
And
Okay.
And just to, when you think about it, I mean, one of the questions I remember, we were talking about the types of things you might want to store out there. And then we also had security concerns about it as well. So when you're figuring it out, if whatever the security concerns, if we actually put that out there, because I think how we would, how the police would handle that, and to make sure that's, if we do something, that's all planned for.
Okay, yeah, will do.
Right, and my thoughts are, we just don't want to stick a wooden shed out there after kind of a beautiful renovation here, so.
The only thing from just a construction team side, as I listen, and I appreciate all the thoughts, certainly we'll wait for direction, but while we're here and we have trades attention and we've got everybody on site and still available, and we still have contracts open with the subcontractor team, the sooner we get any revisions or any adjustments financially, it helps us. And then just from a timing standpoint, it also it's better for the project.
So we can have a special meeting if the police resolve this sooner than our next meeting in 2 weeks. Because I know you guys are wrapping things up and we get some sort of a
Could you try and
resolution
get an
on it.
answer within a week?
Yeah, maybe we can
Yeah,
answer.
no, it doesn't, we don't need 2 weeks. We'll get you an answer faster. Yeah.
They don't want this thing hanging out there.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
understood.
It would
And
be
we
a-
should all understand that any cost here is coming out of the 846,000 contingency.
Right,
I
so
mean,
let's,
you have to understand.
let's be prudent. Okay.
And this structure doesn't need heat and cooling. It's just purely storage, water coverage and that kind of.
Anything else on that? Gene, do you want to talk to us at all, or wait till next meeting?
Yeah, probably wait till next meeting. Joe and I have been talking since my return. We've got to reconcile the soft costs with all the expenses on the soft cost side. I think we're pretty clean on the TCCO's requisition numbers. So we're just balancing the rest of those so that we can report any variances and in some of the other things like the move back, the electrical bills, things that are just been accumulating that we just have to just take a second look at before we report what those numbers look like. So overall, I think what Joe had reported is pretty consistent with what we're seeing. There are some minor variances in some of the reconciliations that we're trying to straighten out, but nothing that's going to shock anybody.
Thank you, Gene. And now that we're getting to a point in the project where soft costs and, the moving and things like that are going to be more relevant, could you remind us, Joe, how that the expenses for soft cost expenses and potential contingencies in there and how they relate to the 846 and things like that?
So there's no additional contingency in the soft cost budget. There was some, as we do have some buy items, like we did a little better on the furniture, we'll probably do a little better on the technology. So there is opportunities in there. I think there's more opportunities than risks. So I think we're solid with the soft costs.
So when speaking with the Board of Finance, as an example, rough numbers, soft cost 2 million. There's no contingency on that 2 million, but there is a betting man would say we're probably more likely to bring it in under 2 million than over 2 million. Is that fair?
Right. It's much more than 2 million, but there's the $2 million. There's a lot of it's already 100% committed because there's the architectural fees and slams fees. So that's like 2.4 that it was already, there's no opportunities there. But the other items there, like I said, there's definitely more opportunities than risks in there. So we'll be fine.
Yeah, there's about 6.8 million in soft costs and then the contingency, owner's contingency. And as Joe mentioned, there are some very fixed costs. There were stuff that were variable multipliers as, monthly rent, monthly electricity usage. There's a lot of things that are just cumulative. Those are things that we're going to just reconcile and get a final number on those. But I think what Joe's saying, I don't think there's any great surprises. If anything, we may show a little bit of give back on those as well.
Can we get a report at our next meeting on where we are on the technology for that training room upstairs? The sort of the virtual reality one. And the police department was looking at various packages that they were considering for that room. And I know we always buy that at the end because the technology comes down in price, but I'd like to know what we're getting for that.
Yeah,
Sure.
we'll have something put together for you. We did have one vendor come out with a company we were hopeful to go with, and it wasn't impressive. It's not going to be worth it for us. And we'll put something together for next meeting for sure.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Is there anything else before we adjourn? Our next meeting is the 13th of March, I believe. Right.
Yep.
Anything else? Motion to adjourn?
Oh, wait, actually, do we at some point need to set a date for when we're gonna have our end unveiling of the plaque and all that stuff, or do we do that in a couple of weeks? Just so people can calendar it.
I think that we could do that in a couple of weeks. We do have a version of the plaque. We followed the town hall as far as the formatting. I think we're prepared to share that with everyone. We could send it out to the committee and just get a final blessing on that.
And I figured that's all gonna be, are we aiming for May for that?
Well, I think you would, you could do May. June 3rd is when
June,
the
good.
911 is moving over. So that's when we'll be done. But we can do May, we can do June, we can do whatever works for you.
Well, I would make sure Paul's back from Florida.
I would like June, just, well, no, and it's not because of me, but I would like to see that 911 is up and running, the building is occupied, and all that is done before we claim victory.
Right, because we don't control 911. That's the date they gave us, but again, it's not our guys putting them in. So let's make sure all that.
Well, and then we also have, that gives us the opportunity to get all the plantings in. There'll be some,
Right.
I'm sure there'll be some plantings from the Beautification League. So it'll definitely give the building a spring pop that you won't have established in May.
Right.
Also, just one note, we said monument. There are a few memorials and monuments that we had taken from the site and put them in a place. There's no real direction as to where they go back. Where do they get replaced or how they get reinstalled? So maybe that's just a thought as we're talking about plaques and the like.
So I think we'll go through that with the police department because they know which ones are important and which ones aren't. So we'll go through that offline and bring it in.
Main ones that they can probably. It's only 2 or 3 big ones, and they should probably go back close to where they were.
Yeah, I like the idea of the Paul Foley dog urinal post. I thought.
Well, I don't know where my statue is going to appear. I assume at the front door.
But the dog walkers can find it, hopefully.
Oh, no, enough of that. Thanks, Bill. I think as chairman, it should be named after you instead.
Maybe your face can be the face of the clock we're gonna paint on.
There you go.
Move to adjourn, all right?
Come back. Yep, good.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Thank you.